Hello, Komorebi family. How are you? Well, today's message is about victimization and how we can identify it and treat it with spiritual response therapy, uh, which is also known as SRT by its initials. The main idea is I let go of the suffering and victimization. I welcome all the new opportunities and blessings that are available in the universe for me. There are different ways that we can see the world in which we live. One way to see it is through suffering, fears, by being a victim of what has happened to all of us, a victim of our own experiences. And another way to see it is by taking responsibility for what has happened, which translates into emotional responsibility. So we can stop living as a victim. When a person lives as a victim, he believes that he is a constant victim of the world, of the past, and of what others do to him. Also, there is a feeling of guilt and low self-esteem that are the base of those thoughts, and also the base of those beliefs, which is everything that happens, okay? This is because they think that the whole world is against him or against them, okay? People believe that they do not have any type of power to change their lives, so they give up their freedom to start living a life that they stereotype, which is conditioned by the opinions of everybody else. When a person lives this way, they live with a constant fear. Moreover, the victim has a belief that his life is the result of a karma, randomness, destiny, and also that his life is already written, so nothing can be changed. When the person who is a victim identifies himself with this model and repeats it over and over in time, he starts living his life thinking that he's going to be a victim forever. Thus, his main characteristic is to live a worried life and fear, because he's always thinking on how he's going to do to survive everything that he has to experiment in life. So he's always in a defense mode. A person who is a victim is always worried. He's worried about what people think in regards to him, so he can begin to act and reprogram himself in such a way that he could not even dare, okay, to do something that is unpleasing to everybody around him. So he's trying to please the people around him. This way, he can be sure that he can be accepted by others. This affects the victim so much that he begins to lose his own identity and essence. This causes a confusion on his desires and interests. His insecurity is so strong that he convinces himself that if he acts in an original way, showing his essence, who he really is, this will cause that all the people that surrounds him could not accept him or love him. A person who is a victim is constantly thinking that he needs to sacrifice himself and that is guilty of everything that happens. For that person, the sacrifice means that he stops doing what he likes, what he really likes, what he desires. He forgets about his dreams so he can be recognized, approved, and valued by everybody else. This way, others, everybody else, can see how much is he valued, how much is he worth. Okay? When this happens, there is another program that comes out when we're doing SRT, spiritual response therapy, and that goes hand by hand with victimization, which is the program of unworthiness. These programs most of the time are linked together because the victim thinks that he does not deserve anything of what he has, and that others do not see what he is. And he, not only what he is, but also what he does for everybody else. This situation causes that the victim tries to control others with pity, because this way can feel like a momentary satisfaction. It's like a belief that others will feel compassion for him, and that way they are learning his worth. For example, when a son or a daughter, let's call a son just to generalize the term, calls a daughter or leaves home, right? The son leaves home, goes to university, moves out, and begins living his life. Okay? And this life is being lived away from home, far away from home, meaning away from mom. When days go by, the mother is expecting the son to call her, right? So because the son doesn't call, the mother calls, or even if the son calls a week later, the mother answers and says, oh, something like this, okay? So you can understand the idea. But it says, oh, my son, my love, you don't love me anymore because you don't call me. You have forgotten about me. So here, when she says this, the son is confused because he knows that he has been busy doing his things. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that he doesn't love her. But now he feels guilty and begins to offer apologies and begins to promise things to the mother, that, for example, that he will call often, that he will travel back home soon, and etc. Because they are looking for ways to prove the mother that things are not the way she thinks. So the feeling of guilt stays with the son, and this creates a cycle that is very difficult to break between them. When a victim enters into a relationship, normally this relationship, when it's created, does not let unconditional love to manifest. This is because a victim creates a bond of necessity, just like the mother needs the son because she's used to be a mom. It's like there is this change in her life that she doesn't know what else to do. That's what happens most of the time. She's been used to for 20 years to have a meal, like to have a schedule, and things change all of the sudden, okay? I want to make a point here. I'm not talking about the love that the mother has. I'm not doubting the love, because a mother always loves her son or daughter. But I'm just talking about the relationship that she's starting to create, about the need. This is what the point that I want to make. The bond of necessity. And it's not a bond of unconditional love, because now she wants the son to feel guilty, right? Because doesn't call her as often. So in other words, what exists is a necessity of the victim towards others. Therefore, when the others want to move on with their lives and they want to express themselves or what they really want, the victim resents them because the others are not what the victim wants them to be. or they don't do what the victim wants them to do. When this happens, okay, the victim will begin to control the situation based on his own truth and reality. Because the thoughts that the victim has is that when others do what he says or she says, let's call he for the sake of the victim, okay, just to give a general term, then if they do it, then life would be perfect. This also creates a resentment, not only from the victim to the other people in the relationship, but from the others towards the victim. A victim never assumes his responsibility. So what does this mean? That in a relationship, we all have a share of responsibility, okay? A portion. So the reason is because he thinks that everything that happens is conditioned by bad luck, and because society or others are enraged against him. When a person is a victim of his love, relationships, is a victim of family, a victim of his friends, work, all this relationship, he's constantly seeking for to blame somebody else. So he's always looking to put the guilt on a person, okay? So he makes up excuses, each mistake that has been made as a failure and not as a learning experience. This causes that the victim will continue making the same mistakes. Moreover, a victim is a very negative person, which makes him be more negative, not only towards the situation, but also towards life. And also thinks that his destiny will depend only on the circumstances of what is experiencing at that particular moment in time. Because of the negativity that the victim lives, they turn out to be like a person with a lot of limitations. A victim always will be complaining, and to justify what is going on, needs to find somebody else to blame. In SRT, in spiritual response therapy, victimization is a program that is in the conscious and subconscious mind, and that has a root in fear and ego. This activates because of an event that happens in a person's life at any point in time. The problem is when the person does not recognize it or identify it, living the rest of his life from a victim's perspective, which he believes that the world is against him, trying to please everyone else, and basing his thoughts on fear, always believing that people are thinking bad about him. So when we do SRT, we identify this discordant program, the person realizes his actions and traits. Among those are that the victim loves sacrifice and culpability. He sacrifices for others to be recognized and validated, and uses culpability to devalue others. I mean, with culpability, guilt, okay? Moreover, the victim does not love because he develops a need for others. He will always look for excuses and manipulate so he can retain the people that are around him. This causes a feeling of resentment against others when they are not as he desires or needs them to be. The beauty of being able to identify this program with SRT is that from an idea of love, the person becomes conscious of what is happening, stops making up excuses that justify his actions, stops looking at each mistake as a failure, and therefore avoids repeating the same mistakes, changes his negative attitudes towards life and makes him feel unworthy by others. Begins to change his thoughts and beliefs towards destiny and life, and begins to live a life without limitations. The process of growth, this is very important to remember. All this process of growth that is produced in the person is not from one day to night or from like magic. It is a daily work, a step-by-step process. Remember that for a long time, this person's mind has been acting in the wrong way, and he's used to feeling and reacting as a victim. The importance of this is that by making this conscious, the person can realize and identify his conduct. With this, I would like you to understand that it's very likely that there will be ups and downs. But if we are constant, disciplined, and we act with emotional responsibility, we will be able to increase our capabilities, our capacities to reach our goal of living in harmony and love, and therefore being able to transform and increase our level of consciousness. Remember that each day is a new opportunity. The important thing here is to identify and recognize the thought that we create and that we convert into an intention. And that intention is what we plan to do. If we do so, we can change the way we behave and at the end, the way we feel. We can have an intention, but if we don't have an emotion, there is no change. There is nothing, because it is the emotion, the way we feel, what the frequency that we will that will interact, that will go into the quantum field, and that quantum field is moves in a wave, in a form of wave. So we start being like a magnet, or we activate what is called a force of attraction. So we can change our present, leading to a change in our future. The future we desire has no limits. It's unlimited. It's abundant, prosperous, and full of gratitude and love, and we can create it. So I send you a huge kiss and love, and Kamorebi family. I hope this can help you, and that also it is of interest of all of you. I believe that many of us have experienced being a victim in our own lives at any point in time. And please do not forget that we are interconnected, that anything that happens in our lives is not a casualty. Each of us has the power, all the power to change the future of what we are living today. It is in us. It is our responsibility, our emotional responsibility that we have with ourselves, so we can change our own reality. There is nothing said or written on stone. This is the moment to empower ourselves. So you just need to want to do it. Bye-bye. I hope you have a wonderful day.